So just in the back of your mind, you knew there was always an overdraft fee, and you're like,
Oh, always. I would always overdraft, but I would time it. You know, I have my daughter. Okay, I got to get this much gas
Yeah.
to go pick her up and then go get her. But this time, like, I was overdrafted, and I had a little bit of cash on me, and you know, I took her to McDonald's or some fast food, and you know, she asked me, "You're not gonna get anything to eat?" And I said, "No, Mama." I call her Mama. No, I'm not hungry. But the real reason is that I literally only had money for her.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, man.
yeah.
How old were you when you started to kind of like notice that your career or your life was headed in a direction that, you know, you didn't necessarily want to go, and you know you wanted better?
So,
Yeah, talk to me about that.
so here's the thing.
Yeah.
I've always, so you do talk about entrepreneurial. I did go through like little spurts where I dabbled in things, but that's all I did was I would dabble in real estate. I would dabble in stocks and dabbling, but once it got hard, I would quit every time. And I mean, I didn't find success until later on in life. Like, I even, you know, my marriage that ended up in divorce, you know, I promised all these things. Like, yeah, we're gonna buy this big house and we're gonna do this and that. But I was dabbling. You know, I would try something, like I said, and I would just quit when it got hard. I don't know why that would happen. I don't know if it was, maybe embarrassment. Like, if I go through it and fail, like, and it didn't work, maybe I would be embarrassed. I don't know what it was, but I just never was following through with it.
How old were you when you first got married?
Well, I've been married. This is my third time, but
Third time's a charm, right?
Third time's a charm. So the first time I was very young. I was in the military, and the one I was talking about is later. I was already 27 years old. That was my second marriage, and that's the one I promised her all these things that we're gonna do, and you know, when we got a divorce, I was actually resentful and mad at her, and it didn't take, you know, it took a lot of years for me to look back and say, well, that wasn't her. It was the stuff that I was doing, you know, that. And sometimes you got to look back, and you know, some of the things that happen to you in life is you got to take some accountability for it, and I didn't do that. I would always blame other people, and so yeah, I mean.
What were you doing for work at that time in your late 20s?
So when I got out of the military, I did IT work. That's what I was doing in the military. And I did IT work when I got out. And I started working for this company that would do IT support for companies. But what ended up happening was that I would go out and recommend things to the client, and the salesperson got paid, right?
Yeah.
So I would do this a lot until one day, I don't know what happened, I saw some of these sales guys' checks. I'm like, these guys make like 4 or 5 times as much as me. So I'm like, hold on. I went to the boss, the owner of the company. I'm like, how can I become a salesperson? So he said, if you go out and you sell a certain amount, then we'll think about making you a salesperson. So that's what I did. I went out and I met the quota. I became a salesperson.
Were you good at sales right away, or
No.
nervous?
No, I wasn't good at sales.
Yeah. How old were you when you started in sales?
I would say now I am, at this point, I am in my 30s, early 30s. So I didn't start till late. And the way I learned sales was through audio tapes, like Brian Tracy.
Zig Ziglar.
The old school stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't know if it worked or not, but that's what I went through in the beginning to learn sales. But yeah, that's how I started in sales. I saw, in the beginning, it was for money, because, you know, I saw that these guys were driving the nice cars, were getting paid a lot more than me, and people were, you know, they told me I was crazy to leave IT,
Yeah.
which, I mean, it's not like it's like the best job in the world, but it's a steady paycheck, and you're going from a steady paycheck to something that's more
salesperson.
Yeah. So it was a hard transition, because I didn't get good for a long time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how long did it take you from, you know, your first year doing it to actually getting proficient at it? Did you think about quitting? Did you, you know, because it sounds like you weren't a natural.
No.
You're here in your early 30s. You know, a lot of these entrepreneurial stories, people we've interviewed, you know, they've been selling peanuts since they were 18 on the street, door to door. So here you are, early 30s. trying to figure out how to grow your income, how to grow your life. And, you know, what was the struggle like? Was it like a year, 2 years to get the hang of it? Did you think about quitting? Did you get in your head a lot? You know, what was going on mentally at the time?
So to me, it was a much longer process for a couple reasons. So when I got my divorce, it was around the same around the same time that I'm transitioning to sales, which probably caused another reason why, like, oh, you're transitioning to sales, now you're not gonna make any money. It's just like, you know, everything just happened during the same time. And
Was that pretty like the heaviest time for you at that time as you look back?
yeah, that was probably my darkest times. And I'll tell you a story. Like probably the lowest point of my life is, you know, I got a divorce, and me and her had a house together, and she took all the furniture, and I was left with a bed, 2 TVs, and maybe a laptop or something. Got a divorce. They broke into my house like a couple of days later, and now they take all my TV. So literally, all I have now is a bed. I don't even have my laptop. It's just my bed and my phone. So
Yeah.
I mean, it was like that for a couple months until you know, until I got some commission checks to buy some furniture. But the reason it took me a long time, I believe, to get good at sales was because, again, I didn't commit to it. And during this time, instead of committing to like work in sales, I committed to something else. I kind of wanted to prove my wife that I can go find someone better. So I started like going out, partying, and did that for about 2 to 3 years. Like I would go out like 3 to 4 times a week. Those were my priorities during that time. I would get a commission check and literally spend it all, and then eat ramen noodles for like weeks. You know?
Yeah. Feast and famine. Russell calls it feast and famine. Yeah.
So I did that for a couple years until I got tired of it, and I got tired of it, and it was the point where I had a daughter at the time, and one day, you know, we were gonna go out to eat, and I was already used to this because, you know, having very little money in my bank account, I would have to time it, like, you know, when to eat and when to get gas, you know, and I knew, you know, when I got gas, I was gonna get an overdraft fee, and they would just stack up.
So just in the back of your mind, you knew there was always an overdraft fee, and you're like,
Oh, always. I would always overdraft, but I would time it. You know, I have my daughter. Okay, I got to get this much gas to go pick her up and then go get her. But this time, like, I was overdrafted, and I had a little bit of cash on me, and you know, I took her to McDonald's or some fast food, and you know, she asked me, "You're not going to get anything to eat?" And I said, "No, Mama." I call her Mama. No, I'm not hungry. But the real reason is that I literally only had money for her.
Yeah.
So,
oh man.
Yeah.
And how old are you at this time?
I am about 35.
So you're having conversation with yourself. How am I at 35? Not able to, right? Like a lot of that is fueling your fire.
Oh man, that day I went home and I like literally started crying. Like, dude, I don't even have money to like take my daughter out to eat. So I made a decision. I'm like, I don't want to be like this anymore. And it was, I don't know if it was right away, but I remember changing and starting to read books and things like that. And I remember one book that I read, and I'm sorry, I forgot his name, the author of The Compound Effect.
Darren Hardy.
Yes.
I love Darren Hardy, yeah.
He has another book, I believe it's another book that he has. So he makes you do an assignment, right? And the assignment is, I initially did this for straight business because I wanted to improve in business. He said one of the assignments before you get to the business part was to write down your perfect mate. And I'll tell you what, I was gonna skip that chapter because I'm like, I don't need that. I told myself I will never get married again, never. And that's a lot of divorced guys that say, I'll never get married again.
Yeah.
And that's what I told myself. I'm like, I'm just gonna be a bachelor. I'll make a lot of money.
Yeah. To myself. Yeah.
Just for myself, my daughter.
Yeah.
But I was gonna skip that part, but I don't know why I went back. I'm like, I went to the next chapter and it says, if you did not do the assignment, go back and do it. I'm like, all right, let me go back and do it. So I started writing down like my perfect mate. After a while, I'm like, wow, it's like an hour later, I'm still like describing this person. And I thought after, I finished all this, I'm like, I mean, if that person comes, then I will get married.
Yeah.
If this perfect person that I just wrote down comes, that's the only way I'm gonna get married. So, I forgot all about that. I went through the business stuff. and slowly I started improving, and one of my buddies got me into the insurance business by literally like Wolf of Wall Street. He sends me his paycheck, right? He's like, dude, look how much I made this 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And to me, it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, it
Do you
was.
remember how much it was?
22,000.
22,000.
Yeah, it was. Shout out to my buddy Ryan, if he's out there. He's out there. He's my best friend. So he sends me the text message. I'm like, wow, I've never seen that much money before. So I literally applied that day and got hired. I got hired like a month later. And started working for an insurance company, and that's how I got into the insurance business.
Were you a natural at insurance when you got into it? Had you grown your sales skills by then or no?
Again, no.
Yeah. So it was an uphill battle for you at every part of the journey. Yeah.
Pretty much everything I've done, I've been not good at in the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm telling you is before I would quit, right? And in insurance, it was no different. Which is funny now because some of my students are the people I worked with that did way better than me. They're probably like, I'm not going to join this guy. I was like way better than this guy when I was working with them. But no, when I started working for this company, I was probably in the middle to the lower as far as sales in my office. So out of 20, 22 people, maybe I was like in the middle somewhere.
Were you one of the older guys in there as well?
Yes, everybody else was probably maybe 10 years younger, 5 years younger. Not the oldest guy, but on the higher end as far as age.
And then how long did it take for you to start finding momentum or finding your groove with starting to close deals?
So probably towards the end. And I didn't really catch momentum, honestly, until I left there and started my own agency. So after 3 years working there, me and management had our differences. So I left and I instantly regretted it.
Yeah.
Because when you start a business, you want to plan it out. You want to have enough money. They say a certain amount of money to live off of. Well, I didn't have that much, and not only that. A week before that, I had just bought my wife that I met at Liberty Mutual, which an engagement ring. So
wow.
So it's like I just spent a whole bunch of my money, and now I'm leaving and starting a business. So, which I gotta backtrack because that's why I met my wife is at that agency.
Oh, you met her at the insurance agency.
Yeah, I kind of skipped that part.
Oh wow! So you met her when your buddy like showed you the thing, you got into insurance and met who would be your wife.
Yeah, I went there.
So you owe that buddy a lot for the direction.
I owe that buddy a lot.
Yeah.
I just thanked him the other day, like, man, thank you for getting me in this insurance business. And he introduced me to her also.
Wow. Thank you so much for enjoying this video. And if you found this content valuable, uplifting, and inspiring to take your life and your business to the next level, then I have some exciting news for you. Because the Passionate Few Academy officially launched our brand new on-demand training that you can access absolutely free at www.tpfacademy.com. Right there, you'll learn the #1 way to grow your personal brand or business brand online fast. The same way I've learned from interviewing some of the most successful people on the planet right here on the show who've done exactly that. So again, don't forget to check it out, www.tpfacademy.com. I promise you'll be blown away. And also, don't forget, there's 3 ways you can connect with me further. #1, you can text me absolutely free at the number on the screen right now and send me your most pressing life, business, or branding question, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. #2, if you'd like to be interviewed on the show, you can actually apply right now in the description below and apply to share your incredible story, brand, or business right here with an audience of potentially millions of people, the same way we've helped experts, entrepreneurs, and authors just like you. And don't forget, that opportunity comes with the ability to partner with us and help feed 1 million people through our partnership with Feeding America. Again, you can click the link in the description below titled Interview Application to find out more. And last but not least, #3, if you'd like to get consulting from our team and work with you to help you grow your personal brand or business brand, no matter what industry you're in, we can do that by simply filling out the questionnaire in the description below titled Consulting Application. And if our team thinks that you'd be a great fit, who knows, you may just be invited to work with us to help you take your business to the next level. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for enjoying this video. Make sure to smash that subscribe button, turn on post notifications so you never miss an episode. And until next time, live strong, live with passion, and I'll see you in the next inspiring video.